Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, am I really living the life I was meant to? Welcome to Female Fluence, where we stop waiting for permission and start remembering our power. I am Pearl Mashour, a mom, educator, and a women's empowerment coach. And this is a space for honest conversations about growth, purpose, and becoming who you truly are. Here, we wake up to ourselves. We release the guilt, reclaim our confidence, and rise with grace, truth, and a little bit of fire. If something in you is whispering, there's more, take the self-reflection quiz at femalefluence.com and see where you are in your journey. Because you're not here to play small, you're here to rise fully. Today's conversation is about something the world is slowly beginning to understand. That empowering women is not just a woman's issue, it's a human issue. When women rise into their voice, confidence, and leadership, families change, communities evolve, and entire cultures shift. Yet, for many generations, women have been taught to shrink themselves, question their worth, or wait for permission to take up space. But something powerful is happening right now. Across industries, communities, and conversations, more people, both women and men, are recognizing that the world becomes stronger when women are seen, heard, and supported. And today's guest has made it his mission to create space for exactly by doing that. Through storytelling, deep conversations, and powerful platforms, he has dedicated his work to amplifying the voices of women who are creating impact, overcoming challenges, and redefining what leadership and empowerment truly look like. My guest today is Brad Walsh, the creator and host of the global podcast Empowerography, a platform dedicated to empowering, elevating, and educating through the stories of extraordinary women. Brad's journey began in photography, where he discovered that the powerful impact of helping women see themselves in a new light through empowerment photography. Witnessing this transformation in confidence and self perception among his clients helped him realize that his true purpose was creating spaces where women's voices and stories could be seen and heard. Brad, welcome to Female Fluence. I'm actually really excited to have you on my show.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Pearl. I am so excited and beyond honored to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me onto your platform to be part of your movement and your mission to help women as well. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, it's so nice to, especially, well, to meet another human being that has the same exact mission, but then to have that human being be a man, it's like another whole level.
We're
So
leveling
really
up.
exciting. It's a whole nother
Yes.
elevation. So for listeners who may not, I gave a little introduction, but for
Mhm.
listeners who don't know everything about you, what shaped the man you are today? Tell us a little bit about your journey, about who is
Oh,
Brad.
yeah, the journey,
Now
as you
remember, we
mentioned.
only have an hour.
Yeah. The journey for me begins with photography. That's my first love, my first passion. And that started back in high school. I took a class in high school and I immediately fell in love with the beautiful art form. And it's been through its transitions. So I'll fast forward you to speed up the story. I was working in corporate. I ended up working in corporate for 12 and a half years as an audiovisual tech for one of the big four accounting firms. And partway into my journey, I'd say about 3 or 4 years into my career, I was tasked with the responsibility of doing the corporate headshots, and that's where I fell. I didn't want to photograph people, but I fell in love with photographing people through doing headshots. And about 3 years following that, I was introduced through a mutual friend to a boudoir photographer who was based in Florida, and I fell in love with her work and the mission and the message behind that genre of photography, especially because of the ways you could help women through that genre of photography in terms of self-confidence, body acceptance, self-love, all of those beautiful things. And I ended up mentoring with her for 6 months. And when I was done my mentorship, it was just one of those light bulb moments. And I knew that's what I've got to do with my photography business when I do finally jump to photography full time, which didn't happen for another 6 years. So we fast forward to me leaping into entrepreneurship as a photographer. And there's something so beautiful and so powerful about being able to facilitate and be part of seeing a woman sometimes, a lot of the time, meet herself for the first time. It is one of the most beautiful things to witness and to be part of, and to see that transformation unfold within a 90-minute session with me in the studio. It's magic. There's no other word to describe it. And so I started to feel like at 2 years into my journey, I started to feel like I wanted to have a bigger impact. I wanted to reach more people. So I thought, why don't I take the values and the purpose and the mission of the work I do as a photographer and somehow figure out a way to transplant that or turn that into another platform where I create a podcast around elevating and amplifying the voices of women. And of course, at the time, which was 6 years ago, the podcast will be six next month. And even now, I don't know of any other platform out there in the world that is hosted by a man that solely focuses on elevating and amplifying the voices of women. So I thought, this is great. I can carve out my own little niche. The podcast can stand on its own. And so I reached out to 7 or 8 friends of mine, women who I had met through my photography journey, and I asked them if they helped me get the platform off the ground by letting me interview them. We did the interviews, I created the content, and I was publishing an episode every 2 weeks at the time. But at that same time, my photography business started to pick up traction. I was getting more inquiries and more bookings. So I thought I have to shelve the podcast, focus on the business. So I did that. Fast forward to March of 2020. Of course, we all know what played out around the world that rendered
Mhm.
my photography business inoperable. So I thought, well, I've got two choices here. I can sit around and complain and commiserate like over half the world's doing about what's going on, or I could go over here and choose to look at this as a gift that we've all been given and use this gift of time to create something good, to put some goodness out into the world because the world could use it. So I reignited the podcast, and here we are 6 years later, and I just released my 760th episode on Monday. And it has been such an incredible journey. I've had the honor and the pleasure of sitting with over 800 women up to this point now and sharing in their conversations and their stories. And I pull inspiration from every single one of those women who I get the honor to sit down and share in their stories. And I mean, this is more than a podcast for me. This is a global movement. And at the foundation of all of it are my mother and my grandmother. I was raised by those two women. My mother left my biological father when I was 10. He was running around on her having an affair. And back in those days, of course, women stayed home to raise the children while the husband was the one working. So when I looked back on that, the fact that she had the strength and the courage, and of course, the support of my grandmother, her mother, to stand up after 15 years of marriage and say, no more. I don't have to put up with this. I'm taking my boys and we're leaving. And that's what we did. We left with nothing but the clothes on our back. We moved into a one-bedroom apartment. My mom slept on a couch. My brother and I shared the bedroom, and she had to get a job after being out of work for 10 years because she sacrificed and stayed home to raise us. And so when she was at work, my grandmother would step in. So for me, those two women are my heart and my soul. I wouldn't be the man I am today without those two women. And of course, the over 800 women that I've sat with, of course, have obviously had some effect on who I am now today as opposed to who I was 6 years ago. So it's been an incredible journey, and I'm eternally grateful to those two women specifically. And of course, all the other women who have helped shape me into who I am today.
Wow, they must be so proud of you. I because I was going to ask you like what was
Hmm.
it that challenge in your life but I think you just answered it because I feel like you witnessed the first moment of a woman who decides that I'm going to take charge. I need to take care of my kids. I am
Yep.
not dealing with this kind of behavior. No one can treat me like this. And stepping up, no matter how difficult, challenging, and devastating she was. I
Hmm.
am sure in front of you, she, as moms do, we hold ourselves
Yes.
together
Oh, yeah.
and we might
Hmm.
go in our room, close the door when everyone's
Hmm.
asleep,
Yeah.
and have our tear festival or whatnot. But because we are the moms and we want to make sure that we are keeping you safe,
Hmm.
we're not going to show us how scared we are feeling. So you
Absolutely.
witnessed that firsthand, and then now look at you on your journey. And I'm sure, I mean, I feel the same way every time I interview and every person that I keep meeting, like yourself, it's like that energy I get, the inspirations, and how we're
Yeah.
all like-minded and trying to, we have the same goal and the same movement that we're trying to make,
Hmm.
it's the energy level is so powerful. I mean, it's fuel, right? It's
It
purely
oh
fuel.
it so is. It truly, the conversations I get to have set my soul on fire. I have never felt such a passion for anything, not even photography. And I never in a million years thought I'd hear myself say that, because photography is my first love, my first passion. It's Brad and photography are synonymous. I never thought I'd be doing anything else. But this is a whole other level, to be a part of each one of these women's stories and share in that, and to be, first of all, to be invited into that space to share in those stories is an absolute honor. But to witness that is beyond words, truly. You know this. It just
Yes.
it
Now, do
lights
you
a
still do photography? Do you have time in your crazy schedule?
I haven't in quite a while, but you know, Pearl, last year I started to feel this really strong calling to bring it back into my world and back into and under the Empowerography umbrella. I didn't do it last year, but this year is the year I'm going to bring that back and make it happen. I think it all comes together. It all needs to culminate under the Empowerography umbrella. It's part of who I am, so it's time to bring it back into the fold for
I
sure.
completely agree because as you're talking, I can see that passion that's still there. So you definitely need to follow it. And as busy as you are somewhere in there, I think knowing you, Brad, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it
Yes.
out.
I have. Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely, most definitely.
So I think
It,
that that's great. That's great
yeah,
because
for
I can
sure.
see when you talk about it, you start getting excited at the
Yes.
photography too. So now I have to ask you. So
Hmm.
you're a man dedicating your platform to
Hmm.
amplifying women's voices.
Hmm.
How have other men responded to your mission?
There has been some support from other men. I mean, I surround myself with a few men that are good friends, and they get it. They know where I'm coming from. They understand my story. And last year we did our women's empowerment conference online, and we actually had a men's panel. So we brought on four other men that are very like-minded, like myself. And so they, the people I choose to surround myself, get it. They understand, and they cheer me on for sure. They support me and they love it. They think it's great. They, like I say, it always comes back to the origin story of where it started and why I do it. So they totally understand. They support the mission for sure.
See, that's good because I mean, it's one of those things I feel like it's difficult. Like I feel like as a female, when
Hmm.
I said this is what I'm going to do, I have to say some of the, and I'm a woman, but even
Hmm.
still, it was immediately like they just thought, oh, I'm a feminist and I'm gonna like brainwash all their wives and everyone, like even amongst our friends, like my husband kept saying, like, explain to them like what your goal is. Like he was a little worried, like we're gonna lose like all our circles because they're like, stay away from Pearl. She's gonna brainwash your
She's gonna
wife, and next thing you know, no dinner will be made, the house will not be clean, like all of
laundry
these
won't be
things,
done.
right? So I think it took a while for them to understand my mission that if I'm
Hmm.
trying to elevate women, it doesn't mean
Hmm.
that I'm trying to, disempower the men. People
Right.
get confused by that. They think like
Yes.
I am trying to say, oh, we're so much better. Men suck. Men are horrible. We can live without them. We don't need them. That's not what this is all about,
No,
right? And it's like
that's right.
trying to bring your message out there. And once they realize, oh, okay. You just want to elevate the woman. You're not trying to bash the man. We're all,
Hmm.
and as women grow, like I said in my introduction, it's a collaboration. We
Yes.
all work better together. So once they understood that, it's been great. I mean, now I get nothing but uttermost respect, and
Hmm.
they're like, oh, just listen to Pearl. Like, listen to what she's doing.
She
Now it's a
knows.
different story, right? Like, go listen to her episode about this. She's like doing this and she's being an empowered wife by appreciating her husband all the time.
Yes.
So it's funny how the tables have turned. But I was curious because, I mean, what about when you've had conversations with men who
Hmm.
didn't really understand what your mission is, but then later you were able to transform them like I did. Have you had those moments where they were kind of like, wait, what are you doing? And then once they got to know you, once you explained, they're just like, wow, like this is incredible. I want to get to know more of what you're doing. Or does
Well,
that not really happen?
and it hasn't really happened with the men. I will say though, when I first started the podcast, that happened with women. I was It didn't happen a lot. It happened sparingly where the response was, "What's your angle? Really? Why is a ma really? Are you serious? What's your ulterior motive?" So there was a bit of that, but again, once they heard my story, my origin story of why I started this and where I was going with it, then the light bulb went off and it all clicked. But at first,
Yeah.
there
Once they
was
gain
some of that from the
trust and
women.
understand that you have a
Yeah,
real motive, right? Yeah.
which I understand. I get
Right.
it. I understood where it's coming from. It's just funny to get that from the women and then to see the shift once they realize, oh, wait a minute. No, no, I see what he's doing here. I get it.
Yes, yeah. Well, I hope
Yeah.
there's more of you out there because I think it will help all of us become more seen in the right way that we're really trying to achieve. Now, I have to say, what failures or difficult chapters ended up becoming the
hmm
most important teachers in your life? Like,
hmm
what did they teach you about yourself that you never thought that, no matter what, how successful you become, these
hmm
are the things that have really taught you the greatest lessons.
Yeah, the resilience piece of it. I mean, we have to keep going. If you've got a vision and a mission that you want to accomplish, failures are just lessons to be used to take forward. We have to, I mean, failure is part of life. This is part of the journey. You're going to fail at different things. And even if you don't like the word failure, life lessons, learning lessons, whatever you want to call it, whatever insert word here, if you don't like using the word failure. I know a lot of people that don't like using that word, but for me, I think it's just about learning what you can from that lesson, that failure, that mistake, whatever it was, and then sitting with it, reflecting upon it, and then pulling the lesson out of it that you can use to move forward and do better the next time. So these are all just learning lessons. They help propel us forward. So don't look at it as something negative. Failures are great. This is how we learn. I think more people need to accept that failure is part of it. Fail forward. Look at it that way. Just take the lessons and move forward with those failures. It's not a failure. It's just stumbling block, we'll
Mhm.
call it, and use it to move forward. It builds you. It helps build who you are. It helps
Exactly.
shape who you are.
Yeah, I feel like I think the generations have changed a lot. I think in at
hmm
least in my time growing up, like you couldn't fail. Like you had to do everything right. And
hmm
it was looked down on.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I mean, I always was a perfectionist and
hmm
it was really hard. Like as an adult, I've had to do a lot of kind of unwiring that part of my brain to
Yeah.
realize that
hmm
it's okay. I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to have everything done, and just having that compassion for myself. So I wish more of us back then knew something like this. Like, okay, you
hmm
failed. You didn't do good on your, like, even now today, like if my kids like they don't do good on the test or something,
Yeah.
we always just have the conversation like, what could you have done differently? How can we help you next time? Like, let's
Yes.
figure out what did you not have it? Do you need a tutor? Did you not have time
hmm
to study? Were you procrastinating? Were you, not paying attention in class? Like, and it's not like giving them a lecture, but really
No.
reflecting on the situation and trying to figure out, okay, how can we do better next time? Instead of sitting here and crying about it,
Yeah.
what can we do to do better next time? And as adults, we need to have the same attitude. This is not just for children.
Absolutely.
So just like you
Absolutely.
said, we can fail, but
hmm
and now I even do the same thing. I just reflect and I'm like, okay, like how could I have done differently? Well, I didn't.
hmm
And then a lot of times I write in my journal or even in
hmm
my phone if I don't have a paper and I'm like, okay, next time this is how I'm going to handle this so I can make sure it's done in a better way. And
Yeah, it's
so
just a reframe. That's all it is. You
exactly,
just have
just
to
a reframe.
reframe it and don't I think the only failure there is if you don't get back up after you get knocked
Exactly.
down. You have to get back up and keep trying. Just remember to pull the wisdom out of that experience to move forward and use that as fuel. That's it.
That's it, right? Exactly. That has to
hmm
be your fuel. Now, Brad, with everything that
hmm
you have, with your
hmm
podcast, with all the amazing things that you're doing,
hmm
what is the problem in the world that you are trying to solve? Like in a nutshell.
Well, there's a
I know we have a
couple.
lot of problems right now, but
Yeah,
in the
there's a
world, but what is
couple.
the one problem you're trying to solve?
to provide a platform so that women feel seen and heard. You're doing the same thing, and I think we need to bring allyship into this as well. More men need to get on board with supporting our women. So it's really a two-part. It's one thing, but it's two-part. We need to come together as human beings and realize that yes, we've women have had to deal with the patriarchy. I understand that, and it's done what it's done. I think we have to move past it now. I'm not saying forget it happened, acknowledge it absolutely. Again, use the lessons to move forward, but I think we need to finally realize that the only way forward in this world is to come together and work stand shoulder to shoulder and work side by side because all the women in the world can't do it by themselves, and nor can all the men. We need to come together as human beings, support each other, lift each other up, and cheerlead each other. It is the only way forward in this world that we are going to have impact is to do it together because it's not possible any other way. So that's part of it, creating the conversations around that to bring more people to the table to talk about it, but also more importantly, well, I wouldn't say more importantly, but just as importantly, maybe a little bit more importantly, provide the platform for women to feel seen and heard and have their voices heard, get their stories out there because we all have stories to
Mhm.
share. And women typically haven't had the space to do that. So this is a huge part of my mission as well, is to provide that platform for women to share their stories and have their voices heard. To me, that's the most important thing in my platform and my podcast interviews is that my guests feel seen and heard. So if I'm doing that, secondarily, if they walk away from the conversation thinking, wow, that was powerful, I really had to think, then that's my job done.
I think you're my male twin.
I think so. I think we were
Because that's
separated at
exactly what
birth.
I always say. I'm like, if one person leaves, turns off my podcast afterwards and says, okay, I'm inspired. I'm going to do something
Hmm.
with my life. I'm not alone, then I've done my job. Like
Yep.
that's just one person's exactly my same thought.
Hmm. Yep. I think we're separated at birth,
Yeah,
Pearl.
I think so. I think so. So, in a world that defines success by money, status, and visibility, how do you
Hmm.
personally define your success today?
Knowing that I made an impact in the world. That's it, plain and simple. And that I get to wake up every day and do this, do what I get to do. I mean, those two things for me define it. It's because I believe that we're all here. Part of our journey here is to create impact in the world and to be in and of service. So if I'm creating impact, if I'm being in and of service first and foremost, and then that in turn creates impact in the world, I'm successful. That makes me happy. That brings joy to my life, and that is success for me. It's very simple.
Very simple, right? It's that
Hmm.
legacy. So was there a point in your life that you realized? Because, growing up, we always say, oh, I want that car, that house,
Hmm.
that, vacation. Was there a point that you realized that that external success wasn't enough? Like what shifted you internally?
I think it started with the empowering women through photography. I think that's really where I started seeing that it is about having impact. And my first mentor that I had taught me that along the way too, is that it's about being in and of service. That was a big lesson for me that I learned early on, which I'm very, very grateful to my mentor for teaching me because I was of the mindset when I first started in the entrepreneurial journey that I'm going into places as a photographer and I'm wanting to collaborate with these different businesses and I'm going in with the mindset of, well, what am I getting out of this? Like what are you going to give to me? And shortly thereafter, a few of those visits, I had a call with my mentor and was talking to him about it. And like, you cannot go about business this way. This is the complete wrong way to do things. You have to go into these companies and ask them how you can be in or of service to them. What can I do to help you? And so that whole thing and the photography business itself shifted everything for me. I mean, I was never a selfish person, but it just changed my perspective. I saw it through a different lens that this is
Mhm.
what we're here to do is to be in and of service and support each other. So that's really where it started was the photography. And then it was just amplified through the podcast because of all the women that I was
That you
connecting with
met,
and
right?
meeting. Yes, they really drove that home for me for sure.
It's interesting because for me as well, like I worked in the corporate world,
Hmm.
and that was kind of like I wanted to follow what my parents wanted me to do. And it was like,
Hmm.
oh, go into the stock market, that's where the money is. And I hated it. I did that for a while, and I was like, I would come home and I'd be traveling. I was
Hmm.
miserable, and I quit. Like I was married, and I told my husband like I can't do this anymore. And I went, I got my teaching credential, and I
Hmm.
was teaching, which I absolutely loved. But I feel like whatever route that I decided to follow, it's always been something about like educating,
Hmm.
teaching, coaching, and it has to be self-rewarding. Like I need to at the end of the day say, okay, I just taught this child how to read. I just
Yeah.
helped this woman how to, do what she's been wanting to do all her life, but she was too scared to,
Hmm.
to do it. So it's like
Yeah.
it's a whole different level when you want that and to have that impact and just to say, okay, I made a difference today. It might be a little difference, it might
Hmm.
be huge, it doesn't matter, but I made a difference in someone else's life. And
But
that just is so again, it's more fuel, right? It gives me
yeah,
energy, it makes me feel good and gives peace to my life.
for sure. But that's it, Pearl, because you're using your gifts that you were given and you are sharing those with other people to help create impact, to help other people realize their potential and their gifts and what they are capable of. It's because it was so in alignment with who you are, what you're doing. The other stuff working in the stock market, that wasn't in alignment. It didn't feed your soul. When you find that thing, that soul purpose, that soul mission,
So true.
I always say it's like winning the lottery twice. First of all, finding your soul's purpose, because you think about this, so many people in this world never do find their soul purpose because first of all, they don't sit with themselves long enough to figure out what lights them up. But that's the first time winning the lottery. The second time winning the lottery with, to me anyways, is when that purpose that you have found, that work that you're doing has impact and gives back to the world. That's winning the lottery twice. No amount of money can fill that like finding your purpose does. So that's what I always say. It's like winning the lottery twice when you can do that. And I feel I have done that and it feels absolutely incredible. Money's not the be all and end all. Yes, of course we need it to survive.
Right.
Absolutely. But it is not everything. You could be making $200,000 a year, $150,000 a year in a job that you absolutely hate. What good is that? You're miserable going to work every day. Sure, the money helps you survive, but again, you're just buying things with it. What do those things do? They're filling a hole, an emptiness, something that's missing. When you find your soul purpose, that fills that hole.
It does. It's interesting. A woman reached out to me and she was telling me like she has a very successful career, makes a great amount of money, and she kept telling me like I'm so unhappy. Like I hate my work. I hate the
Hmm.
job that I'm doing and I want to do so and so, but every time I said, "Okay, like let's work together."
Hmm.
And let's start on this journey. She was so scared because
Hmm.
she's used to such a first, I don't think she believed that she could do it.
Right.
And second, it's like that comfort zone. And
Yeah.
then when you're set in your ways of your lifestyle, right? If you're
Hmm.
making good money and you're,
Yeah.
going out, shopping, doing what, to all of a sudden have to give that up to in order. And that happens for a lot of people.
For
So
sure.
she basically said that I mean, she kind of gave up on her
And
dream.
that makes me
And that
sad.
happens
Change.
a lot, right?
Yes, it does. Change is scary, 1000%. I'm not saying it's easy. By no means is it easy. Change is a very scary thing because, as you said, you're in that comfort zone. So to step outside of it, it's hard. It's scary. It just depends on how badly you want it. If you want it bad enough, you'll push through that
Mhm.
fear and that
You will grow so much
uncomfortability.
in the process.
Absolutely. Nothing grows in a comfort zone, as they say. So you have to, in order to achieve growth, you have to step outside that comfort zone. Yes, it's cozy and it's warm and it's comfortable in there, 100%. But are you going to give up on your dreams because this is more comfortable?
Yeah.
That's up to you. We always have a choice, right?
Yeah, you do have a choice. So what internal principles guide you in the decisions you make as a leader and an entrepreneur? Is there some
Integrity,
values or
integrity,
beliefs that you kind of stick by that has made you as successful as you are?
integrity for sure. I have to be doing what's feels good to me, what is being in and of service. That's
Hmm.
I think that's probably the biggest guiding principle is being in and of service. What I do is in and of service to this world. It's helping better someone else. It makes me feel good inside. It's in integrity. I'm not hurting anyone, creating spaces for people to feel good. I'm here to help other people feel good. Yes, and in the process that makes me feel good. So it's reciprocal. As long as I'm getting back what I'm giving out, then I'm good. I'm happy. I'm to me again, it's the success, right? So it's integrity, being in and of service. Those are the two biggest things for me. As long as I'm not hurting anyone, no one's hurting me, we're good. I'm good to go, and I'm here on this mission, and nothing is going to stop me. Nothing.
Okay, very good. Integrity, that's a big one. That's one of my things that I live by too, being authentic, being
Hmm.
real.
Yep.
And that's what I try to do with my podcasts, with the people
Hmm.
who come on. I'm like, there's no just people to come on to sell something, and I have to make sure it's valid and who they are. So, because there's a lot of that Brad out there,
Oh
right? You
yeah,
don't
for
even
sure.
know anymore who's real, who's not. First of all, you don't even know if it's like a real person. Is it AI or is it a real human? Like it's horrible. It took me
It
a while
is.
at the beginning. Like I would show things to my kids. I'm like, did this child really fall off the balcony? And a news clip, and my son's like, Mom, that's not real. That's not
That's
real news. I'm like,
AI.
how can you tell? She's like, look at the little thing at the bottom, and you can tell it. So it's like, what is this world we live in? We don't even know anymore what's real, what's not. It's horrible, horrible. How can
Yes,
you
it
trust
is.
anyone?
I know. Well, that's why connections are so important and creating those authentic, real connections with people. And I think that's the best way of doing business. It's the only way of doing business, in my opinion, is creating connection and
Hmm.
trust and building on those relationships. And podcasting is an incredible means and way of doing that, creating connection with people because we're here having a conversation. You can see I'm real, I can see you're real. That connection between the two of us is authentic. That authentic connection creates relatability for us as well to help build on those relationships. So those three things, connection, collaboration, and relatability, authenticism, all of these things, they are so important in today's world. I think this is the new way of doing
More than
business.
ever, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it's the new way of doing business is relationships, creation. The relationships are currency, plain and simple.
very true.
Hmm.
Now, I know you said your mother and your grandmother had a
Hmm.
huge influence on your
Hmm.
life, of your perspective to empower a woman. Has there been any other woman in your life that you've met through collaboration, or just maybe people that you are your role models that have really influenced you into empowering women?
Hmm. Well, my daughters, of course, my wife and daughters are a huge part of
How
my
many daughters do you
influence.
have?
I have two. They're 25. Well, my oldest turns 25 this month, actually, in 9 days. And my oldest just turned 27 in February. So my wife and my daughters are a huge part. But I mean, every woman that I speak to, it has had a part in inspiring me and creating who I am. I am a completely different man today than I was 6 years ago. And it is because, large in part, because of these women that I get to have these conversations with. They have opened me up to a whole new world and helped me see who I am as a man and helped me evolve into the man I am today. It has been an incredible journey. I am so grateful to every one of these women that I've had the opportunity to sit and interview because they've helped shape who I am today.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you interviewed me, so I'm part of that crew.
You are absolutely, you are 1000%. You are. Yep, you are
That's
for
good.
sure.
That's good.
It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, I was never religious, but I wasn't spiritual before I started this pod. I'm very spiritual now. All of these things have shifted me. I have a greater understanding of women. I've learned how to listen, which is probably, I would say that's got to be one
I
of,
think
if not the
your
most
wife
important.
loves what you do.
This is the most important lesson for me, I think, is the listening piece of it, because that, when you think about it, that's all every human wants, is just to be seen and heard. So it's been a truly incredible journey, and I am eternally grateful to everyone who has helped create who you see today.
What do you believe the world gains when more women step fully into their voice, confidence, and leadership?
Oh my gosh. I a new outlook, a new way of doing things, new ways of doing things. I think that if more women were in higher positions of leadership, of power within corporations, within government, we'd be living in a completely different world. Completely. Men have done what they've done to this world. And I think it's time that women take the reins. Let's women deserve the reins. Let's see how they can change the world. Because I think that you mentioned it in the very beginning, when a woman is in her joy, doing what she loves, feels supported, feels seen, feels heard, feels loved, it that ripples out to everywhere, starting at home with her family, her kids, her partner, her friends, then it's her community, then it's society, then it's the world at large. I think we'd be living in a completely different world. It would be amazing. And I think we'll get there one day. And this is how, is through platforms like yours, platforms like mine. This is how we start those wheels of change moving, is providing the space for women's voices to be heard, because that's where it starts. It all starts with conversation. We need to bring more and more people to the table to be part of the conversation, and that includes men as well.
Of
We
course.
need everybody at the table to participate in these conversations. We all need to be heard, but women need to be heard and appreciated for what they, women are incredible vessels. There are miracles on this planet. The planet wouldn't exist without women. 50% of the population is women. So they need to be appreciated for the beauty and the magic they bring to this world. Period. That's it. It could change the world.
I think you're going to start to if you keep talking about this, one person at a time.
Yeah.
So what is one barrier that you still see women facing that deserves more attention?
Oh, there's so many, but I think one of the big ones is that we have adopted this mindset and this belief that we need to, or women need to change or be fixed, for lack of a better term, to fit into the systems.
Mm.
And that's not the case. It's the systems that need to be fixed, not the women. We need to adapt and shift and change our systems so that women are just naturally fitting into these systems, period. Women don't need to change. Women aren't broken. Women don't need to be fixed. It's the systems that need to be fixed. If we change the systems, that will change everything, because then everyone will be part of that system, especially women who have not been part of the system or who have had to adopt masculine energy to put on
That's
this,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah, to put on this bullshit mask, to put on the pantsuits and adopt this energy, this aggressive energy, this masculine energy to fit into
Hmm.
this box. No, 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 that's not the way it works. We all have masculine and feminine within us. So why should women have to adopt a completely different energy to fit in, put on a mask? You're not being who you authentically are as a woman. How is that? That's not right. Why should anybody have to put on a mask and not be who they truly are? So it's the systems that need to change, not the women. We need to fix the system. So I think that's one of the biggest ones. I think the invisible labor that women carry that doesn't get seen or appreciated. I mean,
Yep.
they have to go to work, then they have to go home, they have to cook dinner, they have to look after the kids, make sure the kids are picked up, make sure the kids get to their sporting events, make sure the kids get to the birthday parties, make sure the gifts are picked up. What about
That
the other,
list goes on and
yes,
on
I
and
know.
on.
The laundry, the clean, all of it, I know. So what's wrong with the partner that is 50% in this relationship? It's not fair to all be put on the women. So I think those are probably two pretty big ones. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
ton. We could do a
We
whole
could do another episode about that, I
yes.
think. But
Yes.
definitely the system needs to be changed. And you know that the
Hmm.
problem is as women, we've done so much all the time
Hmm.
that whether it's our husbands or our families, they expect it because we've
Yes.
trained them that way, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
once you continue to do everything all the time, the
Hmm.
moment if you want to say no, and create a boundary, everyone gets shocked, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
like, what do you
used to
mean?
it.
What? What?
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
That's exactly true. I agree with you. And there is, I mean, I've noticed it with the woman that I'm working with. It's the masculine and the feminine energy. Like, I don't understand why we can't have, we evolve around both. It just
Hmm.
seems like some women just feel like they have to be very masculine. They don't have to show their feelings. They're not allowed to cry. They're not
Hmm.
allowed to, and then there's the other ones that are too feminine. Like we don't need to put an armor. Like you said, we don't need to have a mask. We can
No.
be our true self and we
Hmm.
can be powerful and go to work and we can still be our sexy self and be in
Yes.
feminine energy and
Hmm.
have all the feelings and the emotions. And the somewhere along the line, that has been, there's a conflict between that because I don't think
Hmm.
people really understand the masculine and the feminine energy. And it's like you're either one or the other. You can't have both. And you're either really, really weak
Hmm.
or you're just like I don't know, you're very bitchy because
Yeah.
you're
Hmm.
very too masculine and
Because
you're
you're
not
driven,
relating.
you've got goals, you
You're
want
too
to
driven,
achieve.
you're
Yeah.
too ambitious, right? I've
Yes.
had so many leaders and CEOs that I've
Hmm.
interviewed that they've talked about this whole problem with being too ambitious, that they're just regarded on as not being a soft, feminine
Yeah.
person just
Hmm.
because they have a drive and they want to succeed and they have this goal that they want to achieve. It's like they can't have both. They're not a
Yeah.
good mother because they're really driven.
Yeah. Hmm. But this actually, all of this, Pearl, this all ties back to fixing the systems, not the women. The women don't need to be fixed. The
Yeah.
systems need to
Well, the
change
other
and
thing
be
about the
fixed.
system, I feel like, is the problem is as far as ageism. That's
Oh,
another
yeah.
whole topic that it's just
Yes.
constantly we are told, like, go do a facelift. Here is a cream that's going to
Hmm.
make you look young. Like, how many creams are given to you saying that you're going to look
None.
young? Why is
None.
it okay that men can age and
Yeah.
they're supposedly looking more attractive, more
The
wise and
silver fox.
distinguished? And
Yes.
refined. But
Yes.
as females, it's like, oh, we need to do so much and worry about our weight and then menopause and all. And,
Hmm.
and it's like society is feeding that to us, and we
Yeah.
are following it by saying, buying all the products, doing
Hmm.
all the procedures because we're so afraid that we're not going to look good enough. And we're going,
Yeah.
God forbid, we age.
Yeah, I know. Age is a natural process in the human realm. This is we all age, and you're right. It's a complete bullshit double standard, and it's not right. Like I said, this all ties back. All the systems,
Listen,
not just corporate system, all the
all the
systems need
system.
to be overhauled and fixed, burned to the ground, and started again. Whatever it is, so that we all fit into the system. Because, like I said earlier, the only way forward is for us to work together. Period. This ageism bullshit, this masculine versus feminine war, it's got to stop. We have to come together and work together. No one is any less than anyone else because
Mhm.
of age or because of weight or any of this bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. It's nothing. We all age. Men should not be put up here because they're looking distinguished or whatever word you want to use. It's just not right. The systems need to change. So I would say that this is the biggest problem. One of the biggest problems
Yes,
is that the systems need to be fixed. All of them. All of them
I
need an
absolutely
overhaul.
agree with you.
It's got to change.
It has, we need some change for sure. Now,
Hmm.
Brad, when people talk about you years from now,
Hmm.
what do you hope they say about the impact you've made?
That it made a difference in the world, that I made a difference with the work I did, and that that people loved and resonated with the work, that I cared about what I did, that it shows through my work, that I cared about women's voices, that I cared about women being seen, but that it resonated with people and it made people happy. That's what I want to hear.
I'm sure that's what you will hear.
So,
If you could sit down with your younger self, what
hmm
advice would you give him about life or your purpose?
hmm, hmm. Things are going to be okay. It's all going to unfold the way it's meant to, and you are going to have an impact in this world. You'll get there. It's just going to take time. Love yourself. Love yourself.
Self-love.
That's the most important one, is love yourself. Because I was bullied as a kid, so I dealt with a lot of that lack of self-confidence and all of the, and it still pops up from time to time. So love yourself. That is the most important, that everything is going to be okay.
Very good. If you could leave one message for the next generation of leaders, especially women who may be doubting themselves, what would you want them to remember?
You have everything you need within you. You are powerful beyond measure, and you can accomplish anything you want and anything you believe in this life. Don't give up. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you are less than or can't do something, because you have it all within you and you are capable.
Very nice. So, if someone is listening
Mhm.
today and feels like they're standing at a turning point in life, like unsure how to step into their purpose, what would you want them to hear right now?
You have a purpose. You are worthy. Everything you need is within you. It's all that you have, all the answers. Sit with yourself. Take the time to sit with yourself and figure out what that is, because you are here for a purpose. No matter what anyone says, you have a purpose on this planet. You have gifts that the world needs. So spend the time, figure that out, sit with yourself, and then
Sit
share
with
your gifts with
yourself,
the
right?
world.
Because a lot of us don't. We're running on
Yeah.
autopilot. We
Yep.
don't allow a moment to of like just quiet time. There's so many people that I talk to, like when I even say, "Oh, I went for like 6 mile walk by myself," like by yourself. Like everybody needs either a friend or
Yeah.
a partner
Or a device.
or a device, someone they're talking to. I don't even like talking on the phone when I go on my walk. I'm like, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to an
Hmm.
audible, or sometimes I actually like pure silence. I'll listen to the birds, right?
Yes, listen to nature.
So it's
Absolutely.
interesting. This is the world we live in, and I get
Hmm.
so sad about. I don't know if you've seen those things on they keep sending on Instagram, like the 90s recap, like how it
Yes,
used to
yes,
be.
yes.
Those
Yep.
things just break my heart because
Hmm.
that's when you come to a realization. Even my kids, when they see it, they're like, we miss like we wish our life was like that. Like you guys actually did this, you actually did that, and it's
Hmm.
like a shock to their system that now this little box that we call
Yep.
our iPhone, it's like, you have to check your emails all the time, check your
Hmm.
voicemail all the time. People get mad, you're not responding to a message or it's like before you went out, you were out with friends, you were on
Yeah.
vacation. Everything went to your house, your mail, your phone, and then you could take an actual break
Hmm.
and come
We,
back to it.
yeah, we need to remember and relearn how to slow down. Take the power is in the pause. There is so much
Oh, yes, yes.
beauty in that pause. So take the time to sit with yourself and just be, just be. That's it.
So before we close, what is
Hmm.
one truth about life or success that took you years to understand, but you wish you had learned earlier?
Oh man. Whatever's meant for you will never ever go by you. That is the biggest piece. And it took me a long time to learn that. If it's meant for you, it will come. If it's not, then just let it go. It's okay. Move on to the next. There's something bigger coming around the corner for you. So yeah, what's meant for you will never ever go by you. I promise you that.
That's a wonderful advice because when you really think about it and you realize like this is the journey, this you just have to follow what the universe wants
Hmm.
for you
Yep.
instead of fighting it and being upset
Hmm.
like why didn't I get that job? Why
Yeah.
didn't this happen? Or why didn't that house, the escrow didn't go through? Like there is a reason, right? There's a
Yes. Yes.
reason. follow the path, and
Hmm.
everything will turn out okay.
It
That's
will. There's
great
always
advice.
a reason why
Yeah.
things don't work out. And it usually means that something bigger and better is coming just around the corner. So just believe in that. It is 1000% true. I
Yes.
promise.
So remember that, everyone. Believe in that, right? So powerful, so
Yes.
powerful. And the other thing that I said, the power is in the pause. I
Hmm.
love that too. That's another great thing for everyone to remember. It's really, really important to pause.
We
Very
used to
important.
do that. We don't do it anymore. We
We
need to
don't.
remember and relearn that because there's so much good in that.
Definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
Well, Brad, this has definitely been such a powerful conversation. I mean, I love the work you're doing because it reminds us that empowerment is not just about giving women a voice, it's about creating spaces where their stories are heard, valued, and celebrated. And you're doing that through your podcast, through all the work you're doing. You're really helping amplify voices that inspire others to step into their own strength, their own leadership, and their own truth. Because the reality is, like we've said, when one woman rises, she doesn't rise alone. She creates a ripple that touches families, communities, and the next generation. Thank you so much for the work you're doing and for sharing your story with us today. For everyone listening, if you want to learn more about Brad, all his links will be in my show notes. And to my listeners, remember this: your voice matters, your story matters. And the moment you stop waiting and actually start rising, everything begins to change. Until next time, thank you for joining me on Female Fluence.
Thank you so much, Pearl. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you for spending this time with me here on Female Fluence, where we rise, reflect, and remember who we are. If something from today's episode spoke to you, share it with another woman who's ready to rise too. And before you go, download your free empowerment coaching guide at femalefluence.com. It's your next step toward living with more clarity and confidence. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at pearlmashour_femalefluence. And if you're ready for deeper support, sign up for a free discovery call. I would love to connect with you. Remember, my friends, don't just exist. Live your life fully, bravely, and in truth. I'm Pearl Mashour, and until next time, stay true, stay powerful, and stay you.